Okay, it's time to go over some more tidbits for weekly news segment. So today for the Dungeons and Dragons news, I'm going to talk about in a sense, the re-release of the Player's Handbook for fifth edition. Now scheduled to come out on September 17th, and so of course the article I was looking at, they're saying like, oh no, it's not like a 5.5 edition, but like a part of me is kind of like, yeah, it kind of feels akin to like a 3.5 edition. So those who remember back like 20 years ago or so, when third edition came out, it came out and like exploded, and then like of course they had like the 3.5 edition come out, kind of like in a sense revamp third edition, kind of like make the tweaks that like once third edition was released, and like it had a bunch of people play through it and everything, getting feedback like, okay, so here's like stuff where we need to kind of like in a sense improve upon. So that's ultimately why 3.5 came about, and of course like they had released all a bunch of like a 3.5 edition books and everything. Of course some people say, well, it was just another way to make money and everything by selling more books and stuff. There's always I think there's always going to be that aspect, but there at least the article, like the interview that they had in the article I pulled, one of the people was saying like, yeah, this isn't really like a 5.5, it's just more of like a tweak of like the fifth edition. But yeah, either way, like you could say it's a 5.5, or just kind of like a getting the player's handbook updated and everything. So ultimately, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be keeping the core classes the pretty much like the same, but like it's looking like the artificer isn't actually going to be in there. So like off the top of my head, I want to say you can find it like Tasha's Cauldron of everything. I've done a book of a flip through of that book in one of my earlier videos. So if you actually want to go look at that up, you can. So like that's or like I said, earlier video. So but like I said, it looks like the artificer isn't going to be in there, but all the other core classes, sort of like the barbarian to the wizard to sorcerer, ranger, rogue, fighter, like pretty much like the core classes are still going to be the same. So what they're going to be doing though is they're going to be given some new subclasses though. So it could in a sense give more options and everything. And so like one of the things they also mentioned was like multi-classing combinations. They're kind of like sitting there tweaking the combinations of those, so that way you don't get necessarily like the bad combinations. So like what comes to mind is you wouldn't necessarily like want to do like a sorcerer wizard, multi-class, not like because that would kind of be like a in a sense, in my opinion, kind of pointless, because you got two arcane classes that are in essence the same. It's just a matter of like how they use the arcane magic. So like why multi-class in the sorcerer or wizard when you could do like what would make more sense is maybe a sorcerer fighter type of deal. So you could do something like that. So that's what they're kind of doing with the multi-class and combination, is to kind of get rid of like the combinations that wouldn't really make sense and everything, and kind of geared towards things that make more sense and everything. So like a good example of like something that would make sense is like you could do a paladin cleric multi-class. So like that would be like I think a great example on how to properly multi-class. Of course everyone's going to have their own opinion on like what's the best multi-class to do, what's the worst one to do, and like everything in between that, those bookends of the extreme of the those two extremes of that spectrum and everything. So but like I said, they are given some new subclasses, so that's going to be kind of cool. But like my biggest concern with all this is with the several fiascos that the Wizards of the Coast has had over the past several months, from the OGL to like them laying off like people like during Christmas, to the apparently like now like with the pre-order release of Vecna Eve of Ruin. Apparently, there's some people that have been having issues with getting their pre-orders, their bundles, and like stuff like that, both digital and hard copy. So, I mean, I am a little bit concerned. Like, are they going to screw this up just like they've done these other things, or are they going to be able to right the ship and everything? Because like they can only screw up so often before enough people jump ship and be like, "Hey, look, I've had enough of this screw ups. I'm going to go over to Pathfinder. Oh, I'm going to go play the Symborium game that I heard about, or I'm going to go play Starfinder, or I'm going to get into the board game like Hero Quest, which I'll talk about later. So there are other options that out there. So that's my biggest concern with like Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. Are they going to continue screwing things up to push people further away? But now I do kind of hold out hope that they could quite possibly right the ship like, oh damn, we've been screwing up. We need to get back on track and everything to make sure that we keep customers and everything, so we don't constantly like lose money and we can keep our company afloat and everything. So that's what I'm holding out hope for anyway. But like with getting back to the PHP, like they are the updated one, they are going to be doing like kind of tweaks to combat, like magic and spell regression, and they're going to do some changes to races. So like they're doing stuff like that to kind of improve it. So I'm hopeful that they're going to like be able to come out and like have like a very few problems. But I mean there probably will be problems like there always is when there is a release, but like hopefully they'll be able to keep stuff like that to a minimum. Now with Pathfinder, there's going to be a new Path of the Righteous DLC coming out in November. So this is a real quick one about like it takes up where Through the Ashes left off of. So now like I haven't gotten into the Path of the Righteous myself, but there are people that are probably out there that know about like the whole Path of Righteousness and have played through it, and like I probably can say like one way or the other whether it's good or bad, and that this could be quite a good thing. So me doing like a quick read through of this, it does look like it's something that's kind of cool and everything. So I am kind of hopeful that like eventually I can get a Pathfinder group going just like I did with the Hero Quest this last week. So like maybe that like eventually I will get into this like if I can get a Pathfinder group up and started maybe on Sundays or something, depending on my like a work schedule and stuff. So that's in the works. So I'll have to see like if I can actually get into this and like come back and be like, oh hey, yeah, I've got a chance to play through this. This is great. This is bad. I can say one way or the other. But like I said, like Path of the Righteous is coming out with a new DLC in November, so that's for Pathfinder players. Now, third thing I wanted to touch upon today was like Hero Quest. Now there are rumors that like I looked at like a Reddit thread, and so like the Jungles of Deltark for Hero Quest is a new expansion that's supposedly coming out and supposedly already for pre-order. So we'll have to wait and like I'm kind of like wait and see like to get the okay because Reddit. I don't think it's necessarily a total reliable source. It's good way to get rumors and kind of juicy details and everything. Like, oh, here's something that might be popping up. But with Hero Quest, the Jungles of Deltark, it does look like that is coming out, and it's going to be coming out like and it's ready for pre-order. I'll have to do a double check and everything after this because like I like haven't grown up playing the Hero Quest game as a kid. I'm still a big fan, and like of course I have gotten like group up and running. So like our first playthrough is already up on the channel and everything, so you can go watch that. So and it's a bit longer because like it's a playthrough, and so that the playthroughs I'll be doing of the Hero Quest will be like it should be like uploaded every Sunday, so you can see like each quest being played through. So this next week is actually going to be quest 2, so like you can look for that tomorrow. So but with the Jungles of Deltark, it's going to be the latest expansion for the Hero Quest, and there are already a number of like expansions out there. Of course, they released Avalon Hill has in a sense re-released the whole game. So like they got the core game, they got Kellar's Keep and the Return of the Witch Lord expansion sets that I'm familiar with from when I was a kid, and of course they've got like Prophecy of Telor. They got the Spirit Queen's Torment. They've got Rise of the Dread Moon. They got like Frozen Horror, and the most recent one like Against the Ogre Horde. So I'm probably forgetting one or two of the expansions that are in there, but I have made several videos of the actual Hero Quest game, so you can go back and check those. So this is kind of like the third thing that I came across that I found kind of interesting is that the release of yet another expansion for the Hero Quest game, and it's the Jungles of Deltark. So if there's any of course, if there's anything people want to me to talk about and everything that I can look into, don't hesitate to drop into the comments and let me know what you get me to talk about in these news segments, so I can start getting ready for every next week, so I can give you kind of content and information that you kind of want to get into. So I mean, I'll continue doing these. So I just want to make sure that you guys get what you want that. So drop in the comments and see whatever you want me to cover for whether it's more D&D, Pathfinder, and more Hero Quest, or if you want me to start branching off and other RPGs, maybe even starting to get in card games and everything. Because I'd love to talk about Marvel Power card game more that I played as a kid that I've made a video about as well. So yeah, as always, I'm going to keep putting out information for people to be able to oh, hey, look, here's stuff that's coming up down the pipeline for not only Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinders, but other stuff as well.